Once again, we are at it together. Rivalries are re-stoked.
The whole world watches the Premier League.
This is what makes our heartbeat globally engrossing. This is the league we want to watch.
This is the best league in the world.
The most envied league in the world is about to explode into action once again.
It is showtime. Let the entertainment begin.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Pat and Play podcast. This is episode 3. I'll be honest, I never thought we'd make it to number 3. I thought we'd have died out by now, but here we are. We've made it. Thank you to everyone who has listened to the first 2 episodes. Keep downloading it, keep liking it, keep sharing it, keep sending it off to your family, and just convince everybody to listen to this thing. We appreciate it, and we love all the support. We got a pretty incredible episode ahead of us. We got 2 new faces on the line. We got a packed agenda. We got a season preview. We're going to chat some FPL. We're going to do a game of the week. Yeah, it's going to be a pretty awesome episode. But before we kick off, I'm sure the folks are wondering who are these new hosts of the podcast this week. Ballon, why don't you kick off with an intro?
All right. So the name is Ballon. Once upon a time, fortunately, a Manchester United fan. Currently, unfortunately. But die hard, we keep rocking with the boys. I'm hoping that the fortunes change this season, particularly this weekend against a certain Arsenal. But we're just optimistic, but obviously excited to talk ball with the gents here, and I guess also with the lady on the podcast as well. And just excited, man. Just excited.
Awesome.
Okay, I'm guessing it's me now. Linde Sibanda here. Comic, football fan, and Chelsea fan mostly. I'll say mostly because I think I'm a football fan first, then Chelsea fan, which is unique. But I think I'm the only comic here. I think everyone else tries to be funny, but I'm really funny. So but I'm stoked to be here. And bro, I think a platform like this is needed. And the first 2 episodes were sublime. And I think we should just carry on that trajectory. Away.
Linz, you're also involved in another podcast, right? The Ball Drop podcast.
Yeah. The Ball Drop podcast. It's like this, but funnier. I'm joking. We just deal with PSL as well, and a bit different. But I think our communities will mix, and I think we all learn more. And I think as this grows, that grows, and it's all a great community.
Well, no pressure, Linz. Every time we're gonna share over to you, you better make the audience laugh. That's what you're gonna do.
Nah, I was playing. I'm a football fan first before comedian.
I love it. Well, welcome to the pod, guys. We're super stoked to have you here. As we promised on episode 1, we do have a rotating cast. So every episode, it could be a mix, a bit of a flavor, a pick and mix of our hosts and various faces. So cool. Shall we kick off with hot takes? So we're going to start with a round of, well, as the name suggests, these are opinions that you might have wanted to share with no one except for your loved ones. This coming out into the public is probably going to get some people in trouble. I'm going to start off with asking Sal for what his hot take for this game week or season is. Sal, why don't you kick off for us?
So I think, for me, the hot take, I'm going to start just with this game week alone. I think it's an interesting point to start with. So obviously we're coming off a lot of hype, Manchester United, a lot of movements in the transfer window. We can't complain, hopefully 1 or 2 more signings coming in. I won't mention names as yet. And I just think with that momentum, that confidence, I have a strong feeling that we are going to beat your favorite Arsenal this Sunday. So, very much looking forward to that.
That's a hot take.
These are the hot takes, not facts. Not hot takes. Those are facts. It's not hot takes. Those are facts.
Okay, so we're starting off with Manchester United is going to be Arsenal this weekend, yeah? That's the hot take for you, Sal.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
well, it's good to start off with nonsense. Set off the podcast on the right note. Listen, I think I don't think it's as hot to take as maybe it initially sounds to some people. I don't know. I'm going to go in first on your opinion there, and then maybe we can have some of the other guys also give their view. But I don't know. Arsenal just don't do well at Old Trafford. Man United have been pretty horrific for quite a few years, and Arsenal have been doing, in our eyes, really, really well. We're having this remontada of a half decade where suddenly we're a decent club again, and yet whether it's Eric Ten Hag, whether it's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whether it's Amorim, we come to OT and we just look pretty average. And so I don't know. I don't think you're going out on a limb here with this prediction. I think that this might be more prophecy than a hot take, man. But guys, what are we thinking? What are we thinking about Sal's prediction?
For me, yeah, I'm with Tim on it. I don't think it's a hot take. I predict a draw or a win for United. Just also because I don't know, there's something about this season that feels very pressureful for Arsenal, and going away from home first game at United. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough game for both teams, but yeah, I just see United going over the line, and both teams actually have like hard fixtures coming up, so it's a bit hectic. I think the pressure is just on both teams.
Nah, definitely. I think ultimately both teams are in a position where that first fixture goes wrong, and your rumors are starting to come out. Is Arteta the guy? Is Amorim the guy? So from the get-go, it's fireworks, man. And ultimately, obviously, as a United fan, I'm backing the boys. In my heart of hearts, there's a little bit of doubt, especially when it comes to the set pieces, man. I just think Arsenal with their set pieces, if they get Gabriel and the big boys in the box, United are always just a bit vulnerable at the back, man. There was a goal that we conceded just recently against Fiorentina in preseason, man. We're literally picking nobody up at the back post. Guy just comes, taps it in, So just little things like that with United worry me. But obviously, as a fan, I'm backing the boys and hoping that they can just find a way to get a victory. I think a game like Arsenal suits them. Obviously, just have somebody like Ugarte chilling in the middle, waiting to clean up. And then we just hit on the transition, look for that counter attack and find a way to get maybe a Sesko or a Cunha or Mbemo a goal, and then just take it from there. But yeah, I guess the time will tell. Time will tell.
I think you guys are kind of set up for, like, if I was to think of teams that are set up in a way which causes Arsenal problems, we hate three at the back. Like, three at the back is such a Njols formation. I don't know how to describe it. Like, if everyone used a three at the back, I think I'd just go to tennis, honestly. Like, it's the formation kills me, man. And it just we don't get any space in the channels. You've always got a center back near Saka if he's trying to cut in. It just kind of kills the space in that half space. And on the counter, I got to be honest, Arsenal don't like balls back over the fullback into the sort of areas where we leave, because we kind of go into a three as well in build up. But teams that hit long balls to fast players on the counter, we don't look so good. And Cunha, Sesko, Mbeumo, Bruno smacking the cross fields. I can see what's going to happen, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed this hot take is an absolute failure, and we can go on Monday and just laugh at Sal, to be honest. But, there we go. Ballon, why don't we stay with you? Do you have a hot take or a prediction for this game week or this season that you want to share?
I'm going for this season, man. Ahmad posted a picture of himself holding the Ballon d'Or, man. And I'm gonna follow suit and say Ballon d'Or season incoming from Ahmad Diallo, man. The guy just walked into the preseason, super confident. I'm seeing 40 goal kind of 40 contributions there, goals and assists. I'm seeing something.
My days.
So I'm going with him. If dude, the players put it out there. So I'm just following suit. This is not even my hot take. This is Ahmad's hot take. And I'm just there to sponsor, bro. I'm just there to say amen to that. So I'm going with that.
Is he even starting?
No.
Let's just start. Is he even starting?
That
now
wing
this
back
season?
position is his.
It's his. That's
It's
his.
his.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
his.
Okay, so a wing back is going to win Ballon d'Or.
There's a first for everything, bro. There's a first for everything.
How far is our sport like dipping in standards that a wing back is winning Ballon d'Or? Like, like what? Wait, okay, like who? Okay, how many people have died? Like Yamal is dead, Rafinha is dead. Like,
This is brave. This is brave beyond what I was expecting for hot takes, Ballon. I mean, there's believing in yourself.
Amadinho about to come out, bro. Breakout season. This is it, man. From Atalanta to Sunderland to United and now the Ballon d'Or.
Might have a shout for chance of the week then. Eh?
Okay. Diallo's about to have a breakout season, which also wins him Ballon d'Or.
100%.
Okay. That could be one of the wildest hot takes on any podcast ever. In fact, not on this one, just in general. Not even podcast or football. I think this could be one of the boldest sports predictions I've ever heard before a season. But you know what? I love it. I don't think I know of a single wingback who's ever received any sort of serenade in any context. Wow.
We're taking it back to the Cannavaro days, man.
Cannavaro. Yeah, Cannavaro wasn't much of a wingback, but I love it. Okay. Let's move swiftly along from Amad Diallo winning the Ballon d'Or, because I think some of our listeners may have already switched off. I'm gonna give my hot take. My hot take for the season, and I think I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this. I think City come fifth, which I think when I've said this to people, they've said I'm an idiot and that I definitely shouldn't be hosting a football podcast. I'm just gonna back it up for 30 seconds. So the reason is, I think the players they bought in their 200 mil January splurge was actually kind of average. I'm not convinced by Nico Gonzalez for starters. I think Omar Mamouche. The best thing about Omar Mamouche is his name. Just it flows off the tongue. It's a beautiful Omar Mamouche. It's beautiful, but he scores a banger once every 6 games. I don't think he's as good as Julian Alvarez was, to be honest. I think Alvarez was a far superior forward for City. And then you see De Bruyne at Napoli and you go, was that the guy you thought was washed? Doesn't look very washed to me. And now you got a midfield, which I don't know, could be probably the weakest City midfield I've seen in a long time. And I love Reinders. I know we mentioned it on the last podcast, but yeah, man, I think this might be City's worst season in 5-6 years. And that's my hot take for the season. Any pushback?
Yeah. First, Kevin De Bruyne playing at Napoli. Yeah, my granddad is dead, and he could play in Serie A right now. Like this, it's Lukaku looks like Thierry Henry there, so it's like that's not a proper barometer to judge. The other thing is this: I think you're right about Mamouche in terms of he's not as good as Alvarez for sure, but I do think Pep looks reinvigorated. The other thing is Turkey. Whatever they are losing from De Bruyne, they're getting it's a different kind of creativity with this guy. If Pep allows him to cook, right, and Pep doesn't care too much about Foden, because I don't know if both of them can play. If Pep doesn't care too much about Foden and he just says to Cherki, "You're my guy, do whatever you want," that's the stuff you saw from Dimitri Payet, you might see that from Cherki this season.
Thing is, Pep doesn't like people with a bit of sauce, though, does he? He beats the sauce out of
There's
people.
a problem. Unless your name is Messi, but that's Messi.
Yeah, true. He's a bit of an exception to any rule, right? But I don't know. I thought Doku, for example, was like okay, he's not a Cherki level talent. I don't think he has that kind of technique, but I thought he was an exciting player. And then he gets into the Pep fold, and then I don't know. He just becomes a bit. You know what? I can actually say this is a little bit like Arteta for me. When Arteta gets given or finds an exciting kind of a bit of a unique talent like Martinelli was when he was still Brazilian. And what has he been turned into? That guy is just a structure system player. He's got nothing exciting about him. He doesn't do anything Brazilian anymore. And I just think Cherki's going to end up going down the Pep bin where 3 years from now he ends up at Marseille. That's my prediction. Linz, do you want to hit us with your game week or season hot take?
Yeah, my hot take is coming on the back of Ballon's hot take, but I had this hot take before. I don't think this is a hot take. I know people will take it as one. Cole Palmer is going to be the player of the season. There's no doubt in my mind. I think that Club World Cup that he had after everyone was like, oh, the dip and whatever, and people forget that we had Nicholas Jackson up front, busy missing every 3 seconds, and weird guys doing weird things up there, where Palmer wasn't playing as bad as people thought he was playing. But then that Club World Cup, for him to just, turn it up like that, and that final performance, I don't care if people think that's not a real trophy. PSG showed up there to win, and Cole Palmer was like, this Nuno Mendes that you guys are saying is the best left back in the world, he's stir-fried to me. So, yeah, that's my hot take. Cole Palmer, player of the season. Whether Chelsea win the league or not, that's going to be the player of the season.
And look, I don't think that's too far-fetched. I mean, he's been one of the top players in the Premier League for the past maybe two seasons now. So that isn't too far-fetched. But I do think that people give Jackson a break. I feel like to some extent, Jackson actually helped Cole Palmer be the player that he needed to be, bro. Running in behind and just giving that space for Cole Palmer to roam in that 10 area, man. So I don't know, man. I think this could be another hot take, is that Chelsea are going to be worse without Nicholas Jackson this season. I think so. Sure, you have João Pedro out there firing, but preseason, it's easy to put a couple past Palmeiras and, I don't know, Botafogo and whoever those guys are, bro. Those guys have played 80-odd games already, bro. So cool it. But I think Chelsea might struggle without the services of Jackson. I just think he's raw, gets in behind, does what he needs to do there, man. And I think João Pedro will be found out, and if he goes through a bit of a dip in form or maybe a bit of a dry patch, we might start hearing Jackson stories about João Pedro now. So I don't know.
I don't know, man. I think I hear where you're coming from, Ballon, but I think what João Pedro can do, man. From the Brighton days already, I think he's such a quality player. And, he's also one to make the runs. He's also one to stretch the pitch outs a little bit and give Cole Palmer the space. And like you're saying, Cole Palmer has been one of the best players for the past 2 seasons. And I also don't think that's a hot take from Linde. I was sitting here the moment he said that, and give me 1 second. I'm trying to think, like, who else is gonna contend for the PFA Player of the Year, and I can see it happening. I really can. And João Pedro, I rate João Pedro very highly. So
one word: penalties. That was João Pedro. In literally the whole season, last season, penalties.
Okay. Let me speak now, because we're letting you put rubbish on my boy's name. João Pedro, you saw him at the Club World Cup, bro. That's not preseason, bro. The other thing is this. whatever Jackson can do, João Pedro can do tenfold, bro. I've seen Jackson mistrap a ball that's right in front of him. And listen, okay, don't get me wrong, I don't hate Nicholas Jackson. I just think that Chelsea's level is too high, bro. Where João Pedro, the upward trajectory that he's been on in his career warranted a bigger club, and he's really stepped in with that guy. That guy played the Club World Cup without training with the team. He trained once, and to gel that well, not only with Cole but also with Enzo and Caicedo and everyone else, is like, listen, bro. I've seen strikers play at my club, and in the past 15 to 20 years, we've only had two who've really done the job, Drogba and Costa. And that's what I'm seeing now. Brother, good luck to the league. That's all I'm telling you.
Okay. Time will tell. Time will tell. But I mean, dude, I just feel like the Club World Cup, sure. Like I'll give it its flowers. And I do think that the level's high, but bro, guys were more focused on like going to the Hard Rock Cafe after the game than they were in actually competing, bro. Men were there for their holidays, bro. It was vacay. We know this, bro. Sun shining. You've just come from probably a chilly England. You walk into the sun and the blood's flowing, bro. You know. But time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, it's I gotta say, João Pedro is a funny one because I'm one of those football manager fanatics who sees a talent from my scouts in a virtual setting, buys that player, enjoys them in fantasy football, and then or football manager, and then see them go to a club like Chelsea, and I have to pretend I never liked that player. João Pedro is one of them. João Pedro in I think it was FM22. That guy did actually win Golden Boot for me. While we're on the topic of Golden Boots in the Premier League, and when he went to Brighton, I had an eye on him, and now he's gone to Chelsea. I have to quickly forget that any of that love is stored up inside me, because this guy, I got no doubt he's gonna bang for Chelsea, and I gotta agree with the Chelsea fan here. To be honest, I hate it, Ballon, but I think Pedro's gonna do bits this season. And I think you're right though about Jackson suited some aspects of Cole Palmer. Like, Jackson's quite a facilitative player. He's not necessarily as like punchy or powerful as João Pedro. But I just think Chelsea leveling up all over the park just means that Palmer is going to be better team, better facilitation for his talent. And the only thing I'm interested about Cole Palmer is, does he end up being a sort of right-sided player who's constantly cutting in and seeing the game almost in that inverted way? Or does he end up being a classic 10 or shadow striker who sits in the middle of the field and plays it around, you know, kind of like the central spoke in the wheel? Because I can't escape the feeling that he's more effective from the right when he gets a bit more time to see the pitch. I don't know. Linz, do you want to comment on that before we move off the hot takes?
Yeah, I think especially in modern football now, and sort of the like, it's the death of the 10, where you're not really a 10, you're an 8, where you're doing so much work that your creative juices aren't the same. So now when we stick you out wide, you like you say, you have a better scope and vision of the pitch. And like that Club World Cup final, that's just him out wide causing problems, and you don't know which side he's gonna go. You know it's bad when the body feints hit the cameraman. So now it's sort of like, this guy's really, really doing the business. But yeah, I also think he's a wide player, and him cutting in just causes problems. And that's the thing. That's why Jackson was good for stuff like that. But then the problem is, when Cole Palmer does finally pass to you, you do need to score. And the players around, like even, Pedro Neto, all these guys, it's like, even if they don't reach the level, they're also going to bounce, bro. But Cole Palmer is that guy. And he's proved that, like, you can rely on him. So, but I do think from the right is his best position.
Yeah. Going to be an interesting season for Palmer. Last season, maybe not his best, but I think I agree with you. It's going to be a big one for him. Foden's got to be the really worried guy. In World Cup year, with Saka and Palmer both as the right-sided English options, Foden, boy, you better figure out whether you're still English or want to figure out if you're Irish or something. You know, those guys like doing the Declan Rice maybe, but reverse. Go back to Ireland. Right, boys. Let's move off the hot takes. Have a bit of a look at the season ahead. So, the way we're going to do this is we can't go through all the 20 Premier League teams. We wouldn't want to bore you guys as the listeners either. So we're going to focus on Big Six privilege, which is where we talk about our own clubs and basically ignore that there is other clubs in this league. Don't worry, we'll get there eventually. I'd usually start with the big names, but I think why don't we chat about the team that maybe isn't even in Big Six anymore? But let's start off with Arsenal's arch enemies, Mr. Thomas the Frank Engine. Choo-choo. What are we saying about Tottenham Hotspur this season after last night? What did he say? He said the operation was a success, but the patient died. I love this guy. This guy's amazing. Linz, what are you thinking about Spurs this season?
It's difficult, man. I think with Spurs, the main thing that most people land at is it's Spurs, which is terrible because it's sort of like you're so consistent that everyone knows that you will mess up. But yeah, the fact that yesterday went the way that it went, you can't lose a game like that. You can't. Listen, if a team scores the 87th minute and it's 2-1, let it end like that. For it to get to 2-2, then you lose. It's not great. And then it also reinforces the thing that like they need to sign players. They're very desperate for a creative midfielder like an Eze. So I think Thomas Frank is the right manager. The fact that he did do what he did yesterday shows something. But throughout the Premier League season, yeah, if they don't get Eze, I'm sorry.
Cooked.
Yeah, cooked. And not like cooked in the way of you're not maintaining anything. So it's sort of like, well, obviously they can't maintain like a 16th place finish, but as in you're not getting in the Champions League again. And to be fair, the other thing is they could be very embarrassing in the Champions League. So getting that Eze signing over the line is crucial. Because I don't know how long Kulusevski is out for, but without that creative influence, the Kudus signing becomes, he just needs to do too much. Yeah. And so I think that Eze signing is crucial. Maybe another attacking player, I don't know. At the back is where I feel they're more solid, actually. And Thomas Frank usually coaches like a solid team. That Romero, Danso, Van der Ven, pretty solid. Pedro Porro is solid as well going forward. He's not too bad at defending. Udogi or Jet Spence, that's fine. But the problem is going forward. Can you score goals? If you can't, then yeah, you're finishing 8th, 7th. And I don't think that's what Spurs wants. And yeah, the Champions League with a thin squad like that, you're going to get cooked.
Yeah, no, for me, it's just same old Spurs, man. Honestly, nothing's changed. And I thought they were cooking early on in the transfer window when they made that Morgan Gibbs, when we just got that quick Morgan Gibbs White, here we go. Then I thought, okay, no, Spurs are cooking. Spurs are up to something. And then obviously there was the issues with that, and that broke down and that didn't materialize. And then you have Madison going down with, I think, an ACL or something like that. And Son leaves the club as well, goes off to LA. So I just think literally they already like it's starting to fall apart right in front of our eyes, man. And now that they've got that monkey off their back of also just like winning a trophy, like what do Spurs aspire to? Like somebody sit me down and tell me what Spurs actually aspire to. Like no disrespect, but like now that you've won that trophy, like now what? Okay. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I think like Linda said, you got that Kudus signing. I like the addition of Palmini as well in the middle. I think I like him as a player, a solid player as well. but I don't see where that gets you. It doesn't really move the needle. Like Linda says, if you bring in maybe an Eze, then maybe you're looking at the potential of, I think, just another maybe top 5, top 6 finish, honestly. But in terms of like competing for anything, sure, maybe like your FA Cups, your Carabao, but I don't really see Spurs doing much. Just I see them really just being filling the numbers, just making up the numbers, man. I don't see Spurs posing much of a threat throughout the season. Just a decent team with some nice players. Like I like Bergval. They've got that Bergval kid in the midfield. I think I like him, but I just don't see Spurs doing much on any of the fronts. So yeah.
I don't know, man. I think it's a tricky one because there is always that perspective of where do you go from here? You win a trophy, and now what's the next big thing, right? But sometimes, and you guys know me well, I'm a very analytical person, and I just think sometimes trophies are there to disguise failure, right? And we've seen it with many, many clubs, my club included, right? Where you have a poor league season, you sort of polish it out with a trophy at the end of the year. But we know that Spurs are not at that level, right? And I think what you determine progress to be is very crucial when it comes to judging a club like Spurs at the moment. So obviously they've had some departures, certain things haven't gone their way. Son is out, but signing players like Kudus, there's a lot riding on him at the moment. So I think, Fabinho, Eze, these links are pretty crucial for them. Why I say how you judge progress is very important here is because them coming into a European place, whether it's qualifying for the Europa League, you can either look at that as regression because they're going to be in the Champions League this season, or you can look at it as progression because they finished 16th last season. So I think if the way I look at it, if Thomas Frank is trusted, if he's given the keys to do what he needs to do, I think you can be looking at a project over a large amount of time, right? Over a few years. And if you trust in that, you give it the time to build and build and build, we could be looking at something in the future. So with that being said, I don't see them being much of a threat in terms of a top 4 race, definitely not in terms of a title race, but I think they're going to be in and amongst the top 6, and definitely I think they're going to cause some of our teams some problems when it comes to the head-to-heads, definitely. So let's give it time, let's see, and we'll take it from there, but that's my take.
Yeah. I got to say, the first 2 games that I've seen of Tottenham under Frank are the Arsenal game that they beat us 1-0 and the PSG game. And it is kind of crazy to see Ange's Spurs, which was throw everybody forward, don't care about defending. In fact, defending's just a concept. You don't even need to buy in. And then under Thomas Frank, they score kind of a fluke goal against Arsenal. And then it was 11 men in the box, defend it properly, looking really structured, really well set up. I think Thomas Frank set up, very little space in between your players when defending. And they kind of did that against PSG. It felt like they had the initiative and then went conservative and went, no, we're gonna win this by defending. And I don't know, it's just not Spurs for me. For me, Spurs have always been a team that attack. But we're gonna see. We're gonna see how Thomas the Frank engine takes this team along the rails this season. Let's move to another Big Six team, and I think this one's also on the edge of the Big Six. So we're going to start with Ballon and Sal's team, Man United. So give you a couple of thoughts from my side on Man U. I think it's an enormous season. I think that you are choosing to back a manager that it has to go right. You can't get this wrong again. If you get this wrong again, the money that you keep investing in iterative versions of your squad at the cost of other revenue streams, you can't keep doing that and keep making mistakes. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be a big season for Man United, and Amorim needs to smash it. But I kind of understand why the Man United fans are on board. When you hear him, he does say what you'd want to hear. But I'm interested to hear how the United fans see this. But before we do, what's the Chelsea view of Manchester United season? What are we thinking?
Yeah, man. The way I see it, I'm with you, Tim. It has to work. I think the one thing that they've gotten right with the signings that they've brought in now, these signings are players who can work under another manager. If you get what I'm saying, very malleable players. These Cunhas, Buemu, Sesko. It's like, okay, if Amorim does leave and the guy we bring in, he can't be like, oh, I need a whole new team, which is very smart. Finally doing a smart thing, but this has to work. And I do get why the Man United fans like are on board. He does say that he's almost like a cult leader, where it's like he has an aura about him, where he's like, buy into my thing and let's go on this journey together. And I feel like it was somehow a perfect storm for him. Most people wouldn't see it like that, but there's a lot of people or players who've left United where even other fans were like, listen, we're not sure about this guy. I know a lot of people have turned the corner on Marcus Rashford and, hey, United was the problem and all this stuff. But when you look at the chain of events and you look how Rashford was playing, there was times where it's like you don't even look like a youth prospect that came from this team. It's like you don't know what it means to play for your team. You don't ride for the team. And then when he came out with the comments about maybe it's time to look for another challenge, it's like, yeah, you have to leave. We can't keep you here no matter what. Guys like Sancho, all that stuff, where it's like the rot has to leave. And if Amorim is the guy to facilitate that, great. The thing is, I just hope that United fans don't have extremely high expectations. So to go from 17th, 16th, whatever it is, this is a bad position. As soon as you had 10th, where you finish, it's bad. But to go from that, you can't immediately expect top 4. So any top 7 finish would be amazing. Top 7 finish, a run in a cup, even winning a cup would be great, I think. And also just seeing progression. We saw a lot of disjointed stuff from United, the way they played last season. So now there is no excuse. You've had your preseason. The players who've been with you before preseason and now, we need to see that these guys understand whatever system, whatever implementation you've brought in needs to come out. I'm half and half with United. I don't know. I do think there's a lot of changes coming in. This Baleba signing as well. There's a lot riding on that, where it's like he needs time too. I remember with Caicedo, everyone was like, hey, this guy's not worth this, whatever. But the last season he had, now everyone is on board, where I feel like Baleba might need that too. And yeah, it's a crazy situation, but I get why United fans are riding it out. They have no choice. It has to work.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. United's problems just sometimes feel spiritual, bro. Like, it's too deep. It's too deep, man. I don't even know where to start, honestly. I just think, obviously with Amorim and him coming into the club, he did say in the beginning that, look, guys, it's going to be a lot of suffering. He made us very well aware of that. Literally from the beginning, he walked in and he said, look, it's about to go down. And that's exactly what happened. And I think he always just gives a very honest assessment of like where the club is and what it is that we're trying to achieve. And that's something I appreciate about him. But with United and just with modern football, bro, you don't have time. So this season results are going to have to start speaking, man. He's going to have to really put his money where his mouth is, man, and really just start producing some results, man, particularly against, I think, the lower teams, particularly against teams where we're required to dictate the tempo and dominate on the ball. That's where we struggle for, even with Ten Hag, man, was just being able to control the game, man. From minute 0 to minute 90, just controlling the game. It's always we're relying on Bruno, we're relying on Rashford, we're relying on somebody to just come and provide a moment of individual brilliance and then, bail us out. But I'm obviously hoping, like you said, Linda, with the recruitment, the guys that we brought in, proven Premier League signings in Bruno and Cunha. I'm hoping this Baleba deal somehow finds a way through, and I think that's a transformative signing for our team. You get him in, he settles in next to Bruno. I actually think, I know Sal will like this, you might want to see Kobe next to Baleba and put Bruno on the bench, have Cunha, and but that's a topic for another day. That's a topic for another day.
Ballon, that could have been your hot take, mate.
Yeah,
my goodness me. Bench Bruno for a Kobe Baleba.
Plenty of hot takes. But I just think with us, all it is just a bit of consistency. If we can just this season, one game a week, just a little bit of consistency, a top six finish, I think I can live with that.
Yeah, I'm definitely ruling out a top 4 finish for sure. And again, it speaks to what I was saying about Spurs, right? Like, how do you determine what progression is, right? And like you're saying, you finish in a position that ends in 10th, then anything that doesn't is progress, right? And so there are concerns. There's definitely some concerns. I think with Amarim, there's what do the kids say? There's a certain aura about the club at the moment, right? Like with everything that he says, whether it's through his press conferences, interviews, and everything that he's been saying. For example, he came out the other day and said he would love to be at the club for 20 years, right? And being Man United fans, coming off the back, growing up in the Sir Alex Ferguson era, that's the kind of thing you want to hear because it's not heard of in the modern game, right? However, when you look at it factually and you look at it tactically and you talk pure football, I've watched a little bit of preseason. I haven't focused too much attention on it, but I struggle to see what's happening, man. Like, I really do from a tactical point of view. I get that he's sticking by his guns. I love that we have a coach that's sticking by his guns with his formation. He believes in the 3 at the back system. But it's just not ticking, man. Like, we're not playing that well. Now, that's why a signing like Baleba excites me so much, right? Because in any system, you get the spine right, you get the center of the park right, and everything flows. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen. And Ballon saying his second hot take over there, putting Bruno on the bench and playing Baleba next to Kobe, it excites me, but not just because, putting Bruno on the bench. It's also because it speaks to the versatility that we can actually have in our squad, right? So you have a lot of options that you can utilize for different games. And that we've spoken so many years about the Man United way. Ultimately, the Man United way was that, right? For different occasions, you utilize different players. You use a different squad. You field, for your man-to-man matches, for example, the way we used to use Chisholm Park to mark all the big clubs' best players, right?
3
Pretty much
lungs.
3 lungs, stick him on Pirlo for the entire game and you're safe, right? We can do that now. Certain games will require Nugate, certain games will require Bruno, certain games will require Baleba if it goes through, will require Menu. So even in the striking department, you use Xerxes for certain things, you'll use Sesko for certain things. So that versatility excites me. I just need to see it on the pitch. I've seen enough on paper now. I want to see it on the pitch. So Ruben Amorim, I believe in him a lot. He's a very, very good talker. Show me that it can translate onto the pitch and I back you for a lifetime.
Wow. Sounds like most of the reasons everyone supports Amorim is because he talks a lot of he talks a good game, but basically no one has seen anything to back this up yet. Okay, interesting. This might just be a snake oil salesman, and we're gonna figure out in like 3 months. But anyway, let's move on. We spoke about City during the hot takes round already, and I've expressed my opinion that I don't think they're gonna be as good as people think. I'm not going to go further on that. Does anyone want to offer some thoughts on City for the next game week or season? I think probably season.
Yeah, I disagree with you. I never got to give my take on your hot take, so I'll do so now. Off the back end of last season, I definitely felt like, okay, we're phasing out now. out of this Pep era. Like, maybe it's finally time for him to kick down, maybe go to Italy or something, enjoy Spain again, just get the hell out of my league. But I think he does look reinvigorated. Definitely. He looks like a man who's got a second life burst into him. And I think he's a psycho. He's a psycho. You can just see that this guy has been sitting up all night, like talking to himself and saying, "Okay, this is what we're gonna do now." Like I feel like we're gonna see something different. For example, you speaking about letting players express themselves. I think you might just see that now, right? I think you might just see Chucky get the keys and do what he does best in that team. And it's exciting. I think De Bruyne leaving the club excites me. It's something new, passing the keys on to the next guy. And yeah, the signings that they've made as well, like I definitely believe in them. So I don't want to say that I think they're going to win the league because I don't, but I definitely think they're going to be in that fight again. I wouldn't write a Pep Guardiola team off for back-to-back seasons. Definitely not. I've never done that before. I'll never ever do that. So I still believe they're going to be in that fight, but yeah, definitely not out the top four. I can't see that happening.
Yeah, I'm with Sal there, as my previous thoughts. But I also think it's one of those things where you never know who's gonna win the Premier League, obviously, every season. But there's too much. Every team has something that's like, ugh. So like Liverpool has the amount of changes they've made. And the because it's like with De Bruyne, he was already starting to get phased out. But Liverpool are losing like Trent, where it's like I don't think people understand how vital and pivotal a player like that is for everyone, and how easy he makes it for everyone. Everyone's like he can't defend, but it's like he's the reason why we're scoring 80% of the goals. So I don't know about that. So I think there's too many teams, and Arsenal have like the added pressure of now or never, and all that. And Chelsea is like inexperienced. So and obviously Pep, it's Pep. So now if you guys are telling me that we get to like game week 25 and he's there about like second, he's taking it, bro. So I really think there is just too it's lucky for them because they're also in transition, but I think too many teams have unsure factors where yeah, I think if Liverpool kept the core of the team the same and whatever, it would have been better to just back Liverpool. And but now, yeah, I think there's a real chance they could win. And having that cyborg up front, I think we just forget because last season he got injured and he tinkered off a bit. But that guy is a problem, man. He's a big problem.
No, I
Yeah,
hear you.
no. I think with City, man, City will score goals. I'm just not too convinced about their back line, man. I think City are like an injury away from things really going, not necessarily down the drain, but things getting a bit shaky, man. I think having like Mateus Nunes at right back, that whole thing there, and the guys that, Tim touched on it earlier on, that spending that they did early in Jan, bringing, I think that Kusanov or something like that, bring guys like that in. I don't see what value they bring to that back line. Obviously, you've got the likes of Vardiol, you've got DS and Stones, but even Akanji and some of those guys are suspect for me, man. I think at the back, I don't think City are solid. And then obviously you've got Rodri going down again, and he obviously does a lot to protect that back line and to just keep things going for them. And not having him again this season, I feel like can expose City just a bit. So City will score goals. Like you're saying, Linda, they've got that Norwegian dude up top there that's going to bang. He does what he does. So, and you got Mamouche, you got Ford, and you got a lot of guys that will contribute. But I just think at the back, man, City are a bit vulnerable at the back.
Let's test that assumption, folks, or that opinion on Haaland. In one word, yes or no, is Haaland going to win the Golden Boot this season? Linz first.
Yes.
Sal?
No.
Ballon?
No.
Interesting. Okay. Let's move on. Let's do.
Yeah, Tim, what's your answer, bro? Tim, what about you, bro?
I'm gonna go no, because otherwise I don't think they're gonna drop out of top 4. If that robot becomes the bucket, I'm in trouble for my prediction. Yeah, okay. I'm not so sure about that, but I'd love to believe it. Let's do Chelsea. Why don't we do Chelsea? And why don't we start off with Ballon? Why don't we kick off with your view? Chelsea, Cole Palmer, Pedro. You're not a believer in the Pedro life. What are you thinking about Chelsea's season?
I won't lie, I'm a proper hater when it comes to Chelsea, man. Those guys are just shrewd operators, man. Like the business they've been doing, the way they're able to bring in people, the way they're able to sell, the depth that they seem to be developing in the squad. I don't know. There's still the Xavi Simons links, and like it's too much, man. I don't know how Chelsea keep getting away with this. Honestly. But look, I do think they'll do a lot better than they did last season. I think they've got already. You can start to see that João Pedro Cole Palmer relationship start to form. I think Neto also finding his feet out wide. You brought in Gittins as well. So I think it's a team obviously full of a lot of potential, a lot of nice young players. You also got Delap in as well. So I think Chelsea will do well with the goals. And like you said, Caicedo also finding his feet. Enzo Fernandez looking good next to him as well. Still have a couple of questions about their defense as well. But I do think ultimately Chelsea will have a good season. I hate to have to say it, but I do think Chelsea will probably finish in the top 3 for me. I think maybe just behind an Arsenal or a Liverpool for me personally.
Yeah, on my side, I'm with Ballon there. I'm foreseeing top 3. I think the only problem we have is the back and the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper thing, I don't know how we haven't sorted that out. I don't know what's going on.
You have a Sanchez agenda, though.
Yeah, I don't have a Sanchez agenda, bro. You saw. I know you're trying to sabotage us. We saw what that guy was doing. I don't know which Sangoma he went to for the Club World Cup final because he was on fire, but he can't be trusted. He's swindling us, and yeah. But we need a goalkeeper. Also, the Levi Colwill injury is pretty bad. So getting in a new center back, I know people are like, you have 400,000 center backs. They're not good enough. The level's gone up. We can't have a Disasi or a Badia Shield being the first choice center back. We need a center back. I think that's going to solidify a lot. The Xavi Simons signing would be great. So yeah, I think top 3 would be great. But if we do get into a position like we got into last season, where we're telling people we weren't in a title race, but secretly we were hoping that we maintain, this season there's no excuse. And I think Maresca said it as well, that if we get there, we're pushing for it. There's no excuses. We're going for it. And I'd rather that we go for it and come up short, but it's a thing of we went for it and got close. And yeah, I think more Chelsea fans are hungry for silverware, which is great. But at the same time, it's like let's have a proper vision of where we're at. We're coming from a pretty terrible time, and Maresca's performed miracles against all odds. So yeah, if we can maintain a title charge and get far in the Champions League and hopefully win a domestic trophy, that's good. And then the season afterwards, just build on that. But top 3 would be great. Top 4 as well is just fine then. Yeah.
Yeah, look, I hate this club, man. I they've always been a thorn in my side. No, like honestly, everything, throughout my life, everything that's even when United was super successful, everything I always wanted my clubs to do, Chelsea did. And there were a lot of times where almost every player I ever wanted my team to sign, Chelsea signed, right? Eden Hazard being one of them. And they've always been a thorn in my side, no matter what. They could be having a terrible season, they'll win a European trophy. They that kind of club. But honestly, what I'm seeing from this team right now, I'm admiring. And You know, barring just the performances in the Club World Cup, it's what you see when you watch the games, right? It's not just the trophy being lifted. It's not just the noise that's being sent around the media. It's what you see when you're watching the football. And the gelling of the team, like Linde touched on, João Pedro being literally picked up from Brad's and placed into that team and firing from the get-go. That's crazy. And even the youngsters that they sign now, and you can see the chemistry, you know, the admiration for Cole Palmer from Estavio, and just you can see that this team wants to fire, they want to kick on. There's a little bit more experience now in the likes of Cole Palmer. You know, he can lead the lines in that team. And obviously, like Linda's saying, the back line is a little bit suspect, especially with Levi Colwell taking a dip. But I foresee Chelsea being in a title race this season, honestly. And I'm not saying it's going to be a two-horse race. I think we're going to have at least 3 teams battling for the title this year, and I think Chelsea are going to be in and amongst that fight. So yeah, I think a super successful team, super successful season, all things considered, for Chelsea, given where they've come from. And yeah, I'm excited to see it, but it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, it is gonna hurt. The Hazard comment that you made sort of is still a sore point for me. Arsenal going to France to come back with Eden Hazard and coming back with nothing. Chelsea come back with Eden Hazard, and then we go back and come back with Gervinho. I think it could be the worst period of my life. Like, wow. Talk about second best. I mean, geez Louise, the man's got a worse hairline than I do, and that's saying something. So let's go beyond Chelsea, and we're down to final 2. I think let's do Liverpool, actually. I think without Siobhan on the line, it's a bit we've got some freedom to disrespect Chelsea, disrespect Liverpool. Sorry, Siobhan, if you're listening to this, the knives are out now. I can't help but think what you were saying, Linz. I think this is probably one of the most exciting seasons for me, just because of how much change there is at the top clubs that are supposed to be not changing, not going through a massive squad turnover. And yet you look at City in the last 6 months have had 8 rotations in there, or changes in their first squad of 25. Arsenal have had 11. Liverpool are on 9. That's people leaving and people coming in. It's a lot. That's a lot of change. And I think for Liverpool, I think breaking up a title-winning defense and getting really good replacement fullbacks is all well and good, but Frimpong is super attacking. That might balance out Trent, but Kirkes is also, I think people disrespected Robertson. I think he was never given the love that Trent was on the other side. He was fantastic defender. And yeah, we're hearing Konate might be leaving at the end of the season, might be running out his contract to go to Madrid on a free. I just think they've got a bit of uncertainty there. And Salah has been absolutely incredible for season after season after season, but he's done it with Trent behind him, putting in incredible through passes, incredible crosses. But not just that, he attracts attention. And someone like Salah thrives on having someone distracted for a moment, and then he darts into space. Frimpong has an enormous job ahead of him to support Salah on his journey to win another Golden Boot, or attempt to win a Golden Boot. I think Liverpool will either win the title or come second. I do think they're going to be fantastic. I just think that we're not hitting a 90-point total this season. I don't think it's going to be a 95. I don't think it's going to be 100. I think we might be coming back to something a little bit more competitive, which is good, because last season, let's be honest, it was rubbish. Arsenal completely bottled any sort of title charge. It was a procession for the last few months, and that we can't have that again in this league. Ballon, what are you saying about Liverpool? How do you feel about them?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a strange one with Liverpool. I think we've all been impressed with, I guess, the summer signings. Obviously, bringing in Wirtz and Nketiah, Kirkes and Frimpong. On paper, it looks like, they papered over all the supposed cracks. Well, there weren't really any, but it looks like they addressed all the issues. But I just think, like Linde was even saying earlier on, guys, like losing Alexander Arnold is a big deal. Sure, he doesn't do much on the defensive side, but what he did for them going forward was massive, man. And I think obviously Wirtz is silky, he's smooth, but come game day, come Premier League game day 1 against Bournemouth, when it's rocking properly, man, I want to see how a lot of those players that they brought in can adjust. And I don't know, man. I think we also might start to see the decline of Salah soon. I know it's just preseason, but I don't know how much longer Salah's going to keep this up for. Even Van Dijk, people are saying, word on the street is, Van Dijk isn't Van Dijk anymore. He's lost that step, conceding the penalty against the Crystal Palace there and things like that. So I do think Liverpool on paper look great, but I think as the season plays out, they're going to meet their match quite a few times. I do think so. So yeah, I'm keen to see how they do. I still do think if they bring in Isak, then it's a whole different ball game. I do think then that almost for me cements them as they are the team to beat, but that just further cements it. If they bring in Isak, then yeah, I feel like that's literally them saying, Salah, you're passing over the baton to this man. This is it, and let's go from there. So I think if they complete that signing, then I think I kind of almost like nailed them down for that Premier League title. If he doesn't come in and Newcastle manage to keep him in the naughty corner, then I think the season's going to be a bit more interesting than we may expect. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I nail Liverpool down as the number 1 favorites. I do think it's going to be at least 3 teams competing for the title, but they're the favorites. I think I agree with everything that's being said, like, with Trent leaving and what a big loss that actually is. Like the dynamic player that he is and how much he actually adds to the squad. And they had a very unique way of playing that suited a Trent, that suited all the players that were in the squad, right? Now, with that being said, I think my hot take is actually that this is going to be the season where Salah takes a step back. I really think that's going to happen. And I see him still being a crucial part of the team, but the connection that he's going to share with Frimpong is going to differ so much from the connection that he shared with Trent, right? Frimpong runs down that line at 100 miles an hour every time, and it creates a lot of space. But it's not going to be Salah that's running in behind to catch on to a pass from Frimpong, right? It's going to be the likes of Ekitike. I think also Flo Wirtz is going to steal a lot of shine in this team. And I do still believe that this Isak transfer is going through. I can't see him staying at Newcastle. I really think he's going to end up at Liverpool come deadline day. And like Ballon's saying, I think that's going to be the passing of the torch. So what I see Liverpool have done is they haven't directly replaced Trent. They're doing something completely different. And it's going to be very interesting for us to see how good of a coach Arne Slot actually is, right? How is this transition going to go? How is he going to utilize this different model of player? And I'm excited to see it, but I think they're gonna turn a lot of heads this season, especially if that Isak signing goes through. Then I nail them down for the title, 100%.
I'm gonna differ with everyone a bit. I think initially when I did look at Liverpool, I really thought, yeah, it's nailed down. But the more I saw the changes, the more I'm like, this is too much change in one period. And I won't lie to you, the Crystal Palace game proved it to me. The other thing is, yeah, I think, Ballon, you're right about the Van Dijk thing. Van Dijk and Salah, I don't know if offering them new contracts was the smartest thing to do. You never know when your Rolex starts ticking, bro. You never know when you're fake. You never know when you're fake. I'm serious. You never know. So we all know players go through that where you get me a player. It's not necessarily that Van Dijk becomes bad, but he's not the same force that he was. So he needs to play in a different way, if you get what I'm saying. The same way Thiago Silva reinvented himself. It's you get me? He was very reliant on pace back then and whatever, AC Milan, but you reinvent yourself. And I think that has to happen with Van Dijk. But with that happening, that forms a new dynamic with your defense. You've got a completely new defense. The only guy you know is the guy next to you, which is Konate. They might bring in Mark Gay, so now it might be Gay. So that's 3 new defenders in the back line. That is wild business, bro. And then we also have to factor in that the balance in midfield now is off. They're basically playing with a 2-man midfield. So whether it's Gravenberch and McAllister and Jones, whoever it is, it's too much to do in the current Premier League. If you're playing against a smaller team, great, but not a lot of teams now are smaller teams. You're not playing Burnley every week. So it gets harder, especially in transition, for those guys to do the job they need to do, because Wirtz is probably playing as a 10. You can't count Wirtz as a proper midfielder in the Premier League. I'm sorry. So now, obviously, the problem is with Isak coming in, this is where I'm at odds, because I initially thought if Isak comes in, they're winning the league, no doubt. Then I thought about the balance. If Isak comes in, how do you play him, Ekitike, Wirtz, and Salah? If you are playing all 4 of them, it is really a 2-man midfield there. And that 2-man midfield is doing shifts because it's not like Frimpong is staying back. Frimpong is running as well. I think Kirkes is a bit more solid than Frimpong defensively, but he's also a mover. So getting exposed in transition is going to be a big problem in terms of the balance. I don't know how they balance that out. Then big decisions need to be made, as in a bigger player needs to bench. But you know how clubs are. If I spend 80 million or 100 million on you, I can't bench you. So that's where the catch-22 comes of who do you bench? How do you set up to counteract playing a bigger team? And also, is Ekitike fine benching because they're saying, well, we're playing Chelsea. We can't play with all 4 of you. You get me? We have to play with Jabozlai or Jones in the middle with McAllister and Gravenberch. So I think those things are going to cause problems for Liverpool, where I don't think many people are foreseeing, because we're just seeing a force where there is too much change at one time. And I'm not saying they're not going to win the league, but it's not as clear cut and simple. And Crystal Palace proved it. Like that second half, Liverpool saw nothing, and you end up looking at it and you're like, you really need a Trent just to spread the ball quickly, because now these interplay passes, defense is set up way better against that. And teams like Crystal Palace can attack with 3 people. They have no problem doing that. So now when you're attacking them, they've got everyone set up at the back. It just becomes harder for Liverpool to break teams down, which I think is going to happen. And Salah is losing a yard of pace. Yeah, I do agree with Sal that this might be the season where he doesn't hit the numbers we usually see, but he's got a knack of being at the right place at the right time. So he'll still hit more than 15, but I don't think we're seeing these 30-goal seasons now. Yeah. That's my take.
No, I'm with you on that, to be honest with you. I really don't see another massive season from Salah. But then I've thought that for a couple of seasons, and then every time I get slapped in the face with another FPL L. All right, let's move off Liverpool. Arsenal's the final one of the big 6 to have a look at, and I can see people are ready to get stuck in here. All right, I'm gonna give my thoughts first, because
like you should.
Yeah, I'm gonna get character assassinated immediately afterwards anyway, and I'd rather not go last so I don't get hot-headed. I think Arsenal are gonna have a good season, but I think that the pressure that is being placed upon Arsenal, also by themselves, but also by the sort of wider football community. We don't have a very good record over the last 20 years. When the pressure is on as a club, we sort of fold. And so how many years can you say it's our year? It's got to be our year. It's got to be our year. How many years can you come second? And so we didn't have a great preseason. We haven't looked very good. But what I will say is we look different. So Arteta has been saying that with Gyökeres joining, we have to change how we play, and that the sort of careful build-up won't work because Gyökeres relies on broken play. And so kind of what we've been doing this preseason is this kind of super quick vertical passing through the lines, tried to get it as fast as possible to the wingers and the forwards, and then just attack. That is completely like throwing Arteta's philosophy upside down. And I don't think it's going to gel quickly. And I think we've got extremely difficult fixtures in the first 5 games. We play at Old Trafford, we play at Anfield, we play at St. James's Park in the first 5 games, and then City in the 6th. That's horrendous. And my worry is if Arsenal is not close to the pack after game week 6, catching up to the pack is an absolute nightmare. And Liverpool showed if you create a lead and then you just consistently start to get those 1-0s and those 2-0s and those 2-1s, and you start plowing points onto the leaderboard, games in hand don't matter. Fixture lists don't matter. It's only the points on the board that matter. And so, look, I'm super happy with the signings. I said in the last episode, I think Zubimendi will be the big one. At the same time, I think the missing piece of this puzzle is the left winger. And without Martinelli or Trossard being sold, we're not going to make a left wing signing. And without a left wing signing, I don't see us winning the league. And I don't see us winning the Champions League either. But I think we're going to be competitive again. I just think we're set up in a way now where we can't fall out of top 4. I just don't think we have that performance level. I don't think we're gonna mess up in the Champions League either. I see a quarterfinal or semi-final on the horizon. But I think we're going to come second again for the 4th year in a row. Never happened before, but I think it's happening. And that's my view on it. I know you guys are not the biggest Arsenal fans on the planet, so I might have some support in this arena, but I know some of my Arsenal mates are going to be crucifying me for what I just said. Linz, why don't you kick off on the Arsenal hatred?
Nah, man. I don't even hate Arsenal. I think Arsenal is the one team I'm just super realistic with. Because I think it was two or three seasons ago, I backed them, and I was like, and then they folded my prediction into 50 pieces, and I was just like, okay, this is what they do. So genuinely, I think the pressure is high on the players, unfortunately, but the pressure is even more high on Arteta. I think he knows that if the season ends and he doesn't win anything, I think the fan outrage might spill over, which is the problem. But I do think the one thing that will keep him in a job is if he wins a domestic trophy. I think that will be enough for even the board to be like, oh, proceed, and some of the fans to be like, we're going somewhere. Premier League wise, I do think that, it's not going to. Yeah, it's too much pressure. I think second, third, that's where it's going to end up. But I do think Bukayo Saka this season, I know a lot of people are Gyökeres, but I think Saka, because last season he got injured, but I think he kicks it on even more. Like, people do not realize how good that guy is. And I think he's going to show a lot of people that, listen, he is that guy. And I think we were speaking about the World Cup where Foden must watch. I think Saka will start, you get me, on the right, and they'll even play Palmer in the 10, just because Saka, it doesn't matter what moment he rises. Even this game week, I predict that he'll probably score against United. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with Arsenal.
I hope so.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think this is the season where Saka probably gets his flowers. However, I do think Gyökeres is going to do some madness in the league. I definitely think so. I think just the momentum that he's carrying from last season, right? And obviously he wasn't in the lights, but even the season before, when you look up his stats, he's that guy as a gunman. And I do agree with what Tim is saying, that it's gonna alter the way that Arsenal play. But it's interesting. Again, it speaks to how good of a coach Mikel Arteta can be. How can he adapt, right? We said the same thing about City. How does a gunman like Haaland fit into the system that Pep likes to play? And we saw how that went down. So I think it's going to be something similar. I also think Arsenal are going to be second this season, second or third this season. I don't see them winning the title. I see them putting in a very, very good shift in the Champions League, though. I think they did a good job last season getting to the, as far as they did and losing out to PSG in the end. But I think this season they're going to give it a run as well. And I also think adding that number 9, adding a gunman into the system does well for knockout football. So a domestic trophy or a Champions League on the horizon, maybe. Premier League title, I'm not convinced, but yeah, I definitely think they're going to challenge for something.
Yeah, I hope Amazon is ready, man, because this is all or nothing season for us. For me, honestly, man, like I don't know, man. I don't want to say I sympathize with Arsenal, man, but like surely you've got to. It can't just be like a domestic trophy. If it's gonna be a domestic trophy, it's gotta be the Premier League this season, guys. Like, when does the straw eventually break the camel's back? Like, you're gonna go for second 4 seasons in a row. Something's eventually gotta give, and I do think that this is the season where, yeah, you'll start to see a lot of the outcry from the fans, man. You guys are proving Patrice Evra right, where he says, you guys are like a Netflix season. You're always waiting for. You like Netflix, you're always waiting for the next season, surely it's got to come to an end. I feel like you guys, sure, you could maybe do with a left winger, but I feel like you wanted your striker, you got your striker. You got Gyökeres in, Zubimendi's there. You guys went and got that kid from Valencia as well. I think there's been enough recruitment. You've got Madueke. I know, I actually think Madueke is going to do well for you guys this season. I think he's going to be a good just to step in for Saka here and there, or maybe even play on the left wing from time to time. I think he'll do well there. And I also do think big season for Saka coming up. I think Odegaard's also got a lot to prove this season, man. When he came in, we were all singing praises to him. Last season or so, after the injury, not so much. Yeah, not so much. But I think you guys have all the minerals to do it, man. Declan Rice, Zubimendi, like it's all there. You've got probably the best centre-back pairing in the league as well. We know what you guys can do from your set pieces. Surely, like, you guys you've got to get over the line eventually. Like, you've built a great team. You can't just have this team be remembered for finishing second 4 seasons in a row. Surely, something's got to give.
Yeah. You'd think that. But I can also see owners looking at it and going, we don't want to come 15th or 16th. You kind of like this Champions League revenue you guys are bringing us. Being the Walmart family, I do suspect the Kroenkes aren't going to fire Arteta, even if we win nothing, because just judging by their franchises, they value retained revenue and consistent revenue. But I appreciate what you guys are saying. I do think the pressure's on. And sometimes it doesn't matter what the owners care. Sometimes if you get a groundswell of fan support and everyone's just like, we want something else, then yeah. I think let's move on. I think we're going to skip straight to game of the week, but just a mention of our FPL league. If you haven't joined yet, there are a few hours left before Liverpool kicks off against Bournemouth later today. And what that means is you still have a chance to enter a free league with 7,000 Rand on the table to win. So that's 3K for the winner, 2K for second, 1K for third, and an extra K thrown in for whoever wins the cup. Game of the week, fellas. We're going to do again, who am I, or guess the player. I'm going to flag Jude has won the last 2 of these. And Sal, you were on those podcasts and performed dismally. Yeah. But Linz and Ballon weren't on these. So you guys have a chance for 1 in 1. Sal, you have a chance of 1 in 3. So, not amazing. I'm going to try to choose a player this time who, unlike last time, Siobhan was a bit caught out by a player from the early 2000s. This player retired not too recently, or rather not too long ago. And so I think you're going to be able to get it. But this is a pretty strange career history. As always, I'm just going to name the clubs. The first person to get the player, just shout it out. If you are listening along, let's see if you can get the player before our hosts do. All right. Starting off his career, it is the men's game. That's a good start. Grasshopper is his first team. Second team, he moves from Grasshopper to Lille. After Lille, he goes to Italy, with his first club being Lazio. And then the next club is where he spends the vast majority of his career. He moves from Lazio to Juventus. After Juve, he leaves Serie A toward the end of his career, and he ends up in the Premier League playing for Arsenal. And then after Arsenal,
Stefan Lichtsteiner.
there we go. Bang. Okay, Stefan Lichtsteiner.
Jeez.
Linde, all right.
I was like, I knew this guy's Swiss because of Grasshopper, but I was like, yeah, Lazio.
Yeah,
I was like,
no.
no, man.
Okay, so the
That is
Chelsea
a-
fans are killing the game of the week then, eh? I might need to switch it up a little bit, but yeah.
Well, I thought you were the man with the ball knowledge, but that's
Nah.
0 out of 3, man.
Yeah. What can we do?
What can we do? Indeed. All right. Well,
It's all those Chelsea loan deals.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, Chelsea would be the people who know football like a bloody player database, huh? These guys. Oh my word.
Chill, guys. Chill,
Acting like
chill.
me in my first football manager transfer window, 25 inbounds and 28 outbounds. All right. We've got to that point in the week, or the episode rather, where we get to chant of the week. Folks, do we have any nominations for a chant of the week to go out on?
2026 Ballon d'Or winner Amad Diallo.
All right, boys. Well, look, this was a fantastic episode. I really appreciate it. I know we're at 1 hour, 20 minutes. It's a slightly longer episode than usual. That is because we had to do a full season preview. That will not be the case for every episode, but thank you for everyone who made it to the, what is it now, the 80-minute mark or so, 81-minute mark. You're absolute legends. We appreciate you all. Thank you again. We will be back on Tuesday morning, having reviewed the game week. We're going to try and have as many Arsenal fans and Man United fans on that episode because I think a few heads might be hot. There's a 95% chance it's mine, even if we win. But there we go. As is my nature. Guys, thank you very much for coming on and have a great evening. Thank you.